First, let's check in with our media partners from the Voice of OC for an update on what's happening this week in Orange County government and politics.
Here to talk about issues in the news right now, we welcome Editor-in-Chief of Voice of OC, Norberto Santana.
Norberto, while the Orange County Transportation Agency is slated to vote on a proposal to install toll lanes along the 405 freeway, a key subcommittee this week told OCTA officials to hold off. What's going on?
We told you last week about the packed meeting in Westminster where elected officials, residents, businesses, and activists from many cities along that 405 corridor protested a plan to add toll lanes to what we used to call freeways. The OCTA is now expected to vote on that issue on Friday morning. However, a key subcommittee of the OCTA earlier this week reversed course, citing strong public outcry, and voted 5-2 to suggest that officials on the transportation panel delay action until more outreach is conducted and alternatives can be explored. Now, Supervisor Todd Spitzer led that charge, saying that Caltrans just hasn't given local electeds any kind of guarantees about, well, where toll monies would end up. Now, others, like Huntington Beach Councilman Matt Harper and Seal Beach Mayor Gary Miller, dissented, saying they're just against toll roads altogether.
All right, a proposed social host ordinance where homeowners are held responsible for underage drinking on their property triggered an intense debate at the Board of Supervisors this week. It's fascinating. What happened, Norberto?
Supervisor Todd Spitzer, again, whose former chief of staff was killed by a drunk driver, has really been focusing on this issue this past year. And he's held DUI summits, and he continues to work to introduce policies like this social host ordinance. Now, the ordinance would levy a $750 fine on homeowners who allow underage drinking by 3 or more people in their homes. A second violation would be prosecuted as a misdemeanor. Now, the ordinance would apply to about 120,000 residents living in unincorporated county areas like Ladera Ranch, North Tustin, Rossmore, Midway City, and Orange Park Acres. Yet Spitzer, who often clashes on this dais with Chairman Sean Nelson, who himself is another former trial attorney, faced significant blowback on the idea, with Nelson himself leading the charge. Now, Spitzer came armed with sobering statistics. More than 4,700 deaths occur nationally from underage drinking. Many Orange County cities like Mission Viejo have already introduced the ordinance, and Mayor Trish Kelly told supervisors that it's working.
Very well documented. This has already occurred in other jurisdictions, and it's been successful. It's worked extremely well. This is another avenue by which we can address individuals who are drinking and may do harm to themselves or to others. So with that,
Nelson shot back at Spitzer, arguing that the former assemblyman and rumored future DA candidate is simply playing to the crowds on this issue, but also eroding important civil liberty protections for people who drink responsibly inside their own homes. Now, Nelson said it's not the role of elected leaders to give police unbridled authority to enter people's homes. Hear him here.
We're all against young people drinking and driving, but our system is not set up to give police unbridled authority to go into people's houses. Someone called TV cameras, so, and I know who, and I just got to tell you, the grandstanding for this opportunity is, frankly, to me, it's a little bit offensive.
We'll keep you updated on that story.
Norberto, this week, California's Supreme Court took up the petition of activists battling a housing development in Orange Park Acres. And Southern California's dues industry got behind your Voice of OC and your own petition to the High Court. Talk about that.
The Orange case stems from a proposal to develop one of the last remaining open spaces in Orange Park Acres. Now, there, a developer got the Orange City Council to approve a general plan amendment that allows residential development in an area that was slated as open space. Now, when the community group took the issue to voters, Orange residents rejected the amendment. Yet the developer later argued in court that the referendum was irrelevant based on a 40-year-old document that it had discovered in the city's own files, allowing residential development on the property. Now, local courts have indeed backed the developer, but the activists want the Supreme Court to decide whether a city's most recent general plan is what dictates development patterns. Now, Voice of OC has also been battling in court since last year to see a host of public documents detailing what county supervisors really knew about one of their own, top public works executive Carlos Bustamante, being accused of sexual harassment. Now, Bustamante now faces a dozen felony sex crime charges from District Attorney Tony Rakakis. Yet local courts have essentially allowed top county officials to shield themselves from any kind of outside scrutiny because of the pending criminal trial. In the meantime, scores of officials have been fired, removed, or retired based on what they did or didn't do. Yet the public has no way to assess this in an independent way because county supervisors, many of whom are facing election next year for a host of state and federal posts, are blocking access through a novel gag order that they ask the criminal courts to place on themselves. Now, we have argued that that's a dangerous trend in democracy, and we have fought aggressively in court to force disclosure. Now, this week, our petition was joined by the LA Times, the state's largest daily newspaper, Santa Ana-based Freedom Communications, which owns the Orange County Register in addition to 30 other newspapers, the California Newspaper Publishers Association, and the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press. All these media outlets argue that if these Orange County court orders are allowed to stand, a dangerous precedent would be created across the entire state. For example, the Bell City Hall corruption stories may never have seen the light of day because government officials could have essentially shut down newspaper investigations because of an existing criminal inquiry.
All right, very good. Norberto, you've also posted a story this week from your Healthy Communities team addressing issues regarding failures in state job placement programs for veterans and an event aimed at dealing with that situation at the Orange County Fairgrounds. What's new with that?
A recent state audit obtained by Voice of OC concludes that the California Labor Department is doing a horrible job managing millions of dollars in federal dollars intended to get returning veterans back into jobs. That's a huge frustration for many activists that so many vets have problems adjusting to life beyond the military, with many, in fact, going homeless. Now, that's something that statewide union leaders are vowing to change. This week, Labor is touting a statewide emphasis on veterans with the Sacramento press conference aimed at unveiling an aggressive legislative jobs and training package. And on Veterans Day, on Monday, the Orange County Fairgrounds is going to host a huge event aimed at helping veterans finding jobs and services.
Norberto, thank you very much. For more on these stories and other political news throughout Orange County, go to voiceofoc.org.
All right, thank you very much, Norberto.